Okay, so I'm a couple miles into the ride already. I had to do a lot of street side riding to get to this trail. Last time we were on this trail, I went east. Today we're gonna go west just to kind of check it out. I know eventually I'm gonna have to cross Colorado Boulevard and I think go through a golf course, but I'm not 100% sure before it deviates back to just being trail. So the weather is good today. It's supposed to get up into the mid 70s. It was a little cool last night, which was fine. I think it dropped down to about 40 or 38 or something like that. So while the sun feels good, the breeze is still a little chilly, which makes it perfect for riding weather. That being said, there is a breeze, so there's probably going to be some wind noise. How you doing? So yeah, there's probably going to be some wind noise. Last time I went for a ride, I went to downtown Denver, rode around, went some different ways. I spent the entire time talking on a lavalier mic, hoping that it would mitigate some wind noise. And then I lost the damn receiver to the lavalier mic, so the part that actually plugs into my camera. So that was fun. So that was $100 down the drain. So here we are. As you can see, other people are out and about, which is perfectly fine. Oh, hey puppy, what's up? Excuse me. And yeah, if you look off to the like 130, you can see the mountains. Oops. Hi puppies. Yeah, probably getting a lot of wind noise. I really wish that other headset hadn't stopped breaking because it actually had a wind noise mitigator. This headset does not. But this is one of those open ear headsets that allows me to hear around me while I'm also listening and or talking. So there's that, you know. I'm in pedal assist 1 because most of the ride, the couple of miles that I did to get here, was uphill. And it's still an 80-pound bike, and I'm still fat. So looks like people are on this dirt section, so we're gonna, I didn't know if this was a utility road or something, but we're gonna take this dirt section. And it looks like I might have to adjust the camera here. I thought I had, but it looks like it didn't adjust enough. I like it to be where the horizon is at least centered or a little below center, as opposed to just showing you guys the trail. So hey puppy. All right. So this is something to my right here. I don't know if it's a school or a rec center or something. Doesn't look like there's enough parking for a school, unless it's like an elementary school, because elementary students generally aren't driving their own vehicles to school. But who knows? But I'm willing to bet this is some kind of city park or rec center area or something, which is nice. When I get a dog, I'll probably come over here and walk these trails. So I think this is where we're going to have to cross. Again, yeah, not 100% sure what to do here because there's a street crossing to the left or to the right, but there's this trail to the left. Okay, Highline Canal Trail, continue 3 blocks to intersection. All right, glad they had a sign there. And when I have to cross the street, I'll probably adjust the camera then. And we're going uphill again. And my legs are on fire. Because while I do squats at the gym, I do what I call assisted squats, because I have back problems, especially lower back problems. Oh. Done right, mobile mechanic. I'll have to remember that. So, yeah. Like I said, I do squats, but they're assisted squats because I have back problems. So while they're not perfect, they're still like 200, 220 pounds of squat. They're just assisted so that I don't have to hurt my lower back too much. I also do a lot of lower back stretches, squatting, things like that in order to keep everything loose there and make sure that blood and nutrients has a chance to get in there because of some of my back issues. But yeah, you can see the golf course to the right of us here. Again, I'm not 100% sure. Oh, does it go under the road? That's okay. I wasn't expecting that. But it looks like that's what it does. So I know it picks up on the south of 285 here. Actually, up until, well, the first 10 years I lived in Denver, I lived right off 285, or like a 3/4 of a mile off, maybe a mile. But it was to the east of here. 285 will take you all the way up into the mountains if you want. It is a state highway, not a federal highway, so yeah. But yeah, had no idea this was here. I thought I was going to have to wait at an intersection. Wait for the light or something. So this is nice. Because I've been through this intersection a lot. Oh. We're going to bump up that pedal assist there for a second. But I guess I just never noticed this trail or thought maybe it was a golf cart trail. Because again, golf course is directly to my right. Alright. Marjorie Nature Preserve. I have no idea what any of that stuff means. Yeah, I didn't know what any of those parks were. Nature Preserve Park, all these other parks, have no idea. And I don't know, oh damn, okay. And I was gonna say, I don't know how far I'm gonna get today because this may be a very short ride. I didn't charge the battery after my last ride because last summer I was getting 60 miles out of a charge easily with, probably another 10 miles to spare. Well, I started this morning, again, I'm only 3 miles in at 4 battery markers out of 5, and I just dropped down to 2. So, yeah, that's disconcerting. I don't know how much range I'm going to have because unfortunately that is not part of this computer system. So I may hit 5 miles and decide to turn around just because I don't want to get trapped with a 80-pound bike. All right, so Cherry Hills Village is a very affluent area. Like the houses, if you see any, we're talking $1.5 million, $2 million houses, depending on which house. For example, my friends that sold their house in Parker, the people who bought their house sold their house for $2 million here in Cherry Hills Village before buying their house for $1 million in cash. So keep that in mind. I actually have a friend who grew up here. I don't remember exactly where. I mean, that house over there could have been hers. I only went to the house once, and I think it was her college graduation way back in the early 2000s, before she moved out and moved elsewhere. So, yeah, but she grew up over here somewhere. Again, both of her parents were in the 7-figure club. But yeah, Cherry Hills Village, I need to come over here with a full battery. Like I said, I'm going to get to about 5 miles, so about 2 more miles I'm going to turn around. Because it's going to be a lot of uphill to get back. I say that knowing full well that I said a lot of it was uphill to get to the trail here, but, you know, there was a downhill, then there was an uphill to get to the trail. So when I go back, it's going to be a downhill and then an uphill to get back to the house. And then I'll have to charge the battery. So yeah. Oops. Excuse me. There used to be a place, I'm trying to remember exactly where. I think it was off of Quebec or Quincy or something. Where we could, people could come park and then walk the trail system. And I did that with my dog a few times because the aforementioned girl showed me the trail, or showed me where to park. And I did that with my old dog. I don't think I ever did it with my dog after. Only because I ended up moving just a couple miles further away, which isn't a big deal. But the girl I moved in with had a dog too, and I ended up walking him most of the time, and I didn't want to deal with 2 dogs out here. So, and I found, I lived literally across the street from Cherry Creek State Park, so I had that whole park. I didn't have to come over here other than for like a change of pace. Oops. Hey, puppies. That guy was wearing a Trans-West jacket. Trans-West used to be one of my clients. So yeah. There's a school over here in Cherry Hills Village, I think, or Greenwood Village at least, called Mullen, I think. It's one of those hoity-toity private schools where it's like, at least when my friend went there, it was like $15,000 per semester per kid. And her brothers went there. So their parents were paying like $50,000 a semester for their kids to go there. That's the kind of place we're in right now. You're talking sports people. People who are senior executives at oil companies or technology companies and stuff. And again, it's only like 2 miles, or no, 2 miles from where I started the recording. So about 4 miles from where I'm currently living. But yeah, this is nice. I'm going to have to come back and do it. Alright, 1 more mile and we turn around. And I'll have to remember to plug the battery in overnight. The local energy company has priority pricing or something. I forget what it's called. But basically, if you do any kind of electricity during the day, they charge you more than if you do it at night. So stupid. The only thing it is like yeah, I have to pay more to do laundry or run the dishwasher while I'm away for the day, rather than dealing with the noise at home when I'm home at night. And I think it's just because the private companies that use most of the energy during the day don't want to pay more. So they lobby the local company, or they get, board members get with board members, and they say, hey, you keep raising the rates on us. And they're like, well, yeah, you use more energy. Yeah, but if you raise the rates on everybody else, we probably wouldn't have as much energy we're using. Or we wouldn't be, we wouldn't have to pay as much. And they're like, oh yeah, we can do that. Kind of like how Republican taxes work. Oh, we'll just tax everybody else so that rich people who can afford it, people who can write off their expenditures. Because keep in mind, if you're at home just going about your normal life, you don't get to write off that expenditure. But if you're a business and you're running an office and you have people at work and you have the lights on and the AC running and blah blah blah, and you have an I wanted to say an electronics bill, an energy bill, you get to write that off on your taxes. So yeah, it's one of those. It's another giant scam against people who aren't rich. And yeah, so. But nobody really pays attention. They don't know until the decision's already made. And I get it. People have their lives, they have their jobs, they have their interests, their hobbies, their kids' interests and hobbies, etc. There's only so much attention you can give, and a lot of people don't pay attention to politics or local politics or these sorts of things in order to keep track and write their letters and call their representatives and stuff. So stuff gets passed, and then people wake up one day and they get a letter saying, oh yeah, we're raising your rates. And you're like, why? I'm not building an AI data center. Why are you raising my rates? I'm not building a multi-use property that's gonna have a swimming pool and movie stars and stuff. Why are you raising my rates? So, yeah. Anywho, oh, we're at 4.5. Okay. So we're gonna turn around right here. Keep this house in your. That's where we're turning around, right by that house. You can see it has its own little private trail up here. Oh, and I'm gonna adjust the camera next to this bridge. Because again, I don't know how far I got left. Park rules, 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. Dogs must be leashed no longer than 6 feet. Maximum speed on trails is 15. Use trash cans, no alcohol, no dumping, no motor vehicles, no swimming, tubing, boating, or rafting. Well, that's easy. The creek is dry. No camping, fires, or cooking. No projectiles or fireworks. Oh, that's why. Okay, it's loose down there. So, that's my finger. There we go. All right. And I'll have to clamp that down when I get a chance to. Every once in a while, when I'm manhandling the bike around, oh, see, that's not straight. Let me get over here to this bench and we'll adjust it again. When I'm manhandling the bike around, sometimes I nudge this thing and it ends up being, there we go. It ends up getting out of whack. Ah, there we go. That should be nice. There we go. Hopefully that works. Woo. All right. So, yeah. It's a nice peaceful trail though. I'll definitely have to come back and do this. Because again, I don't like to ride in traffic or with traffic too much, just because, even before cell phones, people didn't really pay attention to the road that much. With cell phones, they pay attention to the road even less, and I'm guilty of it, absolutely. I'll check a text message or something while I'm driving. But I usually do it like when you're on the wide open interstate or you're sitting at a light or something. Ooh, there was a snake I almost hit. Just out getting some sun, no reason for him to die. Bump that up. So there's this little park to the left here. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad I'm just out doing something today. Yesterday I could barely keep my eyes open. But I didn't sleep well Sunday night. I don't think I got 3 straight hours of sleep. I know I only, I'm going to put it this way. The last time I looked at the clock, it was like 12:30 in the morning. And the first time I looked at the clock, when I woke up and could not go back to sleep, it was about 4:30. And I know I woke up probably half a dozen times in that time period. Last night I took some sleep aid, which I don't like to do because I don't like to become reliant upon anything, medications included, which is why I changed my diet and beefed up my exercise and everything in order to fight getting older rather than just take some pills, which most of the people that I know my age do. Oh, my doctor's got me on this, my doctor's got me on that, blah, blah, blah. I get it. I have doctors. They put me on stuff too. But through eating right and exercising and everything, I was able to lower my blood pressure like by, I'd say 6 points. So that was nice. Even the doctor's like, wow, okay. Yeah. My resting heart rate's somewhere in the, according to my watch anyway. During the day, it usually hovers somewhere around 68 to 70. Overnight, when I wake up in the morning, I always check because I'm trying to get an idea of my resting heart rate and how it affects my sleep, or how my sleep affects my resting heart rate. But usually in the middle of the night, or when I wake up in the morning, it's somewhere between 48 and 55. 55's on the very high side. Like I did not sleep at all. Sometimes, I think 2 or 3 times in the last couple of years, it dropped down to like 45. But those are aberrations. And I think that was some of those times where medications were involved. So it's just one of those things. But yeah, on average, it's somewhere around 50 plus or minus 2. Like this morning I woke up, I think it said 52. But my sleep rating was like 89, so, which is pretty damn good because usually it's somewhere in the 60s. The watch takes your average sleep, how many times you wake up, how many times you get up, your heart rate, all the other fun stuff, averages out over a 3-week period. So, a lot of times it's in the 60s, maybe 70s, higher being better, deeper sleep. This morning it was like 89, 90, something like that. Yesterday it was like 45. Like I said, I don't really sleep that good. So yeah. It smells good out here too. Not like flowers or anything, but it just smells like nature, which I like. If you can see off to the right, there's the Canal, which is what they say no boating or wading in. There's no water. There's not even wet spots. Like, it is empty. And the El Niña forecast is predicting a very hot, very dry next year. So next 12 months, so it doesn't look like it's going to get any better. good times. Living out west here is great. I love it. But yeah, definitely comes with its issues. Yeah, I really thought the battery was going to last longer. I thought I'd at least get my 20 in. As it is, I'm only going to get like 10, maybe 11. I hear something. I can't tell if it's like a semi truck or something on the highway, 285, or if it's an airplane. Oh no, it's 285. I see cars going by through the bushes there. All right, yep. I'm trying to think if there's any other interesting ways we can go to kind of not just retrace what I did, but I think retracing what I did is the easiest way to not ride along the road. Like staying on this trail as long as possible, and then the last couple of miles is through a neighborhood, or the first couple of miles was through a neighborhood. Well, something's better than nothing. Alrighty, I did the elliptical at the gym this morning. This was all bonus. See, because I can't run because of the aforementioned back issues. So I walk, but walking doesn't get your heart rate up. So I do the elliptical because it's low stress on the back, low impact. Smell them mowing the lawn over there. Alright, so this is 285 to my right. If you were to take that about another 5 miles straight, you'd be within a couple of blocks of my old house. But we are not going that way. Because, one, I don't think the battery's going to last that long, and two, I did not bring a charger, so. Oops. On your left. So he was doing it right. He's wearing the same kind of headphones I am right now, the open ear ones. So I don't know if you saw that green sign. It says Bible Park's about 4 miles on the trail. Bible Park's where we went last time I went on the trail system. On this trail system. There's the mountains off to the left, if you can see them. If you see the white, that's not snow, those are clouds. Apparently it did snow in the mountains yesterday though, and it caused like a 70-car pileup on one of the passes, so that happened. But it happens. People from down here, want to go up and get that last skiing in before the places close. So they run up real quick. Snow hits, and because it's been warm all of March, it hits and it melts and it refreezes as ice, and poof, you have the makings for a calamity. But most people don't realize that. A lot of people think that, oh, I have 4-wheel drive, I have all-wheel drive, it's not a problem. If you don't know what you're doing, 4-wheel drive just means 4-wheel slide. You still have to know what you're doing. I think I talked about this before. I used to go snowboarding with a guy way back 20 years ago. And he did that. We'd take turns driving. You know, he'd drive one day, I'd drive one day, that kind of thing. Or he'd drive 1 week, I'd drive 1 week, that kind of thing. Well, fast forward, and you know, it's his turn to drive, and he's, you know, it's snowing buckets. I think it snowed like 10 or 12 inches that day. And he's trying to come, not only was he smoking weed the entire time on the mountain, and this is before it got legalized, but he, you know, he didn't smoke on the way up, but he smoked the entire time we were up there. So, you know, assuming he's still moderately high or inebriated, yeah. Hey, puppies. Hi. We're coming down the mountain, right about where that 70 car pileup was. And he had the audacity to scream and yell that everybody else was going too slow, that he wanted to go faster, and everybody should just put it in four-wheel drive and go. And I'm like, dude, four-wheel drive doesn't help you on ice. Like, that's a basic, you know, snow driving. Four-wheel drive will not help you on ice. But he was just throwing a fit, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not letting you drive anymore. So I have no problem driving because I don't really drink that much, but you can pitch in for gas. I will drive from now on because you're kind of a jackass. And it turns out he was a bigger jackass than I thought. I actually drove one time. We were up in Vail. I think I told this story before too. He had the audacity to. We got into a huge argument. We were both in college. That's where we met. We were both Army veterans, about the same age. We did very similar things in the military. We were both Signal Corps. We were both in political science classes at the local college. Very similar. That's why we got along so well. But we got into a huge argument about politics, where he was, he would be like the equivalent of a MAGA person today. Just saying the most outrageously stupid things he could think of, and then acting like it's gospel, even though it is not backed up by facts or reality in any way, shape, or form. He did not understand nuance, and he did not understand detail. So, fast forward, we got into a huge argument up in Vail. I drove. I was really close to just leaving his ass there. Really close. Really close to just saying, oh, okay, you're not interested in, you know, you believe that everybody should take care of themselves and nobody should ever ask for help or rely on anybody else for assistance. And he's like, yeah, you know, we don't need a nanny state. I was really close to just saying, fine, get your ass home yourself. Like, you are literally relying on me for a ride. You are literally relying on me for assistance in getting back home. And you're going to sit here and say that you're self-reliant? Are you kidding me? So, yeah. I was at the point where I was like, yeah, I almost left him. I really did. But I'm not a bad person, so I didn't. But that was the last time we spoke. Especially since we used to work in similar fields at different companies. I worked at company A, he worked at company B. There were many occasions, if you understand how telecommunications works, where I was his customer, and I would call him up, or his office up, and say, hey, I need this done, this done, this done. Pardon me. And 9 times out of 10, they're like, yeah, let me get it done for you. Let me take care of it for you. I couldn't reach anybody in his office one time. So I called him directly, and I said, hey, can you go over and tell me if this equipment is alarming or not? And he goes, no. And I said, I don't need you to touch it because I understand somebody else is working it. I just need to know if it's alarming. Just tell me if it's got a red light or a green light. That's all I need. And he's like, no. What do you mean no? I'm union. I'm not allowed to do that. I can't touch anybody else's stuff. Again, not asking you to touch it. Just tell me if it's working. That's all I need to know right now, so I know how to follow up. Do I need to submit a trouble ticket, or do I need to do something on my end? And he said, no. I was like, are you effing kidding? And he goes, no. Oops. So, somebody lost a phone. Somebody lost a phone. Contacts. Well, the good news is it's not locked. I'm looking for phone. Who was the last person he called? Nicole? Nope. Doug? Housekeeping. Alright, well, he's called this number a lot. Let's see what they say. That was today. And I say he, it could be a she. A lot of times, I haven't found a phone in a while. Let's see if there's something in here called wife in contacts. Nope. How about husband? Nope. Okay. I think this is, I don't know what kind of phone this is. So we go to recents. Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna call this person real quick and see. Hold on. Okay, so you'll notice the position changed. I found the phone right over here. I just came over here to the side street because it's less busy and everything. Is this guy coming over here? Nope. I was kind of hoping, I went through luckily the phone was not locked. So I was going through trying to find most recent calls, last call, things like that. Somebody who might know whose phone it is. Maybe, I went through the contacts. I didn't go through the contacts. I just kind of, I searched for husband, I searched for wife, thinking, a lot of people put their spouse in their phones like that. Found nothing. So what I ended up doing was I called 611, which will get you to the service provider of any phone service. I told the lady I had to do 00000 until somebody answered the damn phone instead of one of those automated things. Spoke with a woman, told her I found the phone. If there's any way to contact the owner, just have them reach out to the phone and I'll call them back or answer it. She said no, they don't have access to the accounts unless there's the person who's calling in has the security information, which I do not. So I told her I would just take it and drop it off at a store. And she said, yeah, that's probably the best bet. So when I get back, I'll have to run to the local store and drop it off. And hopefully, maybe somebody will call it or send a text message to it in the meantime. But, yeah. So, anywho, that's where we're at on the spare phone there. I don't know what kind of phone it is. It's in an OtterBox. I didn't take the OtterBox off, but it is an Android phone. And it's a big one. It looks bigger than my phone, and I don't know and I have a Galaxy S24 Ultra. But it could just look bigger because of the OtterBox. I don't know. So, yeah. This is one of those neighborhoods that, it's kind of like I've driven by it thousands of times over the decades I've lived in this area, or Denver. And you're like, yeah, there's I have no reason to go over there. There's a neighborhood. Blah, blah, blah. You never think of it unless you have to go there. And then, last time I went, I drove through this area and I was like, wow, I knew there were houses here. I knew there was a neighborhood, but I didn't know what kind of neighborhood. You know, yeah, didn't know it was nice, this like little quaint area. Hey puppy, what's up? Yes, I hear you. Dog barked at me when I said hey. So yeah, we're still at 2 battery bars, which is good because I'm only about 2 miles away from where I'm going. Once I get up here, you can see this tall building. I think they're building a senior center or something, or a senior living place. Once I get there, I'll stop recording, just so you guys don't follow me home. There's some kind of school over here to my left. There were some people out on this baseball field earlier. I don't know if it was PE or if it was baseball practice. And if you see that wall straight ahead, past the stop sign straight ahead, there's a concrete wall. The other side of that wall, you can see that semi-truck. That's I-25. So, give you an idea of where we're at. Alright, cool. I'm going to pull over up here, stop the recording. City and County of Denver. And thanks for coming along. Sorry it wasn't a more exciting trip, but it is what it is. And you guys have a great day.